You take me home and give me wings to fly. We can be alone in the castle in the sky. We can run away and leave this world behind. Please just take me.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Storybook Crochet. Today I am going to be teaching you how to crochet the waffle stitch. This is such a fun and textured stitch. It looks amazing in blankets, scarves, dishcloths, and more. It is one of those stitches that looks really impressive, but is actually very simple once you get the hang of it. The waffle stitch gets its name because of the raised grid-like texture it creates, just like the little squares in a waffle. It's made using front post double crochets and regular double crochets, so if you're comfortable with those stitches, you'll pick this up in no time. Even if you're new, don't worry, I will walk you through everything step by step. For this tutorial, I will be using a worsted weight 4 yarn and an H hook, or that's a 5mm crochet hook. But you can use any weight yarn with a matching hook size. Just keep in mind that your project will turn out bigger or smaller depending on the yarn. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a yarn needle for weaving in your ends. Alright, so to get started with our project, we're going to start by making a slip knot. And then you're going to want to chain a multiple of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. For today's project, I'm just making a sample size, so I am just going to start with 30 chains, but I will put up on the screen a chart that shows you different blanket sizes with their measurements if you're wanting to make a full-size blanket with this tutorial. Once you have your chain in your multiple of 3, we are going to add 2 more chains at the end to turn with. Alright, and once we have those 2 chains left, we're ready to start row number 1. So this pattern works with double crochet, so I am going to show you real quick how to make a double crochet. So our very first double crochet will be worked into the 4th chain from our hook. So we can count 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is where we're going to put our first stitch up. So to make a double crochet, you're going to yarn over. You're going to insert your hook into that 4th chain. You're going to yarn over and pull through a loop. At that point, you're going to have 3 loops on your hook. You're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And that is our first double crochet. I will show you how to do that again one more time slowly. So at this point, you're going to put 1 double crochet in each chain all the way across your row. All right, and you're just going to repeat that across. So 1 double crochet in each chain across until you get to the very end, and then I'll show you how to turn, and we'll start on row number 2. All right, so we are now at the very end of row number 1, and at the end of each row for this pattern, you are going to chain 2, and then you're going to turn your piece over. So like I said, that will be the same for the end of every single row for this pattern. So to start row number 2, we are going to begin by making a front post half double crochet. So the half double crochet itself will be worked exactly the same as you've been doing, but instead of going under the top of the stitch like normal, we're going to go around the post. So this long part of our stitch is called the post. Okay, so to do this, you're going to yarn over, and then you're going to take your hook and go behind that post of that very next stitch. And then you're going to make your double crochet. So you're just going to pull that loop behind it and then finish off your double crochet like normal. All right, and that is our very first front post double crochet. Next, we're going to create 2 double crochets. So just like normal, we're going to double crochet into the top of each of the next 2 stitches. All right, so we have our front post double crochet and our 2 regular double crochets. And now we're just going to repeat that across. So we're going to make our next stitch as our front post double crochet. And then 2 double crochets. So at this point, just go ahead and repeat that across your entire row. So you'll do your front post double crochet and your 2 double crochets. Work this until you get to the last 2 stitches and then leave those unworked, and then I'll show you how to finish off row number 2. All right, so this is what row number 2 should look like so far, and we have 2 stitches left, so we've ended with 2 regular double crochets. So we're going to go ahead and make our last front post in the next stitch. We're going to go ahead and double crochet into the very top of this beginning chain here from the last row. So just make your normal double crochet just going into the top of that chain. And that finishes off row number 2 for us. So we're going to chain 2 and turn our piece over. All right, so to begin row number 3, we're going to go ahead and just make a regular double crochet in the first stitch. Once we have that done, we're going to go ahead and do 2 front post double crochets. So these are the actual regular double crochets we made from the last round. So those will be the ones that you make your front post double crochets in for row number 3. So you're just going to make 2 in a row going around those front posts. So essentially we're doing the opposite of what we did from our last round. So now in the stitch that we did work in the front post on the last row, we're now going to just put a regular double crochet in that one. Okay, and so this pattern for this row is a regular double crochet and 2 front post double crochets. All right, so just repeat this pattern until you have 2 stitches left, and I'll show you how to finish off row number 3. So now to finish off row number 3, we're just going to do 2 regular double crochets. So go into that next stitch and make your first double crochet. And then your last double crochet will be made in the top of the chain from the previous row. And then chain 2 and turn. So at this point I have taught you everything you need to know for this pattern. So we're just going to repeat rows 2 and 3 over and over again until you have the length needed. So I will show you those rows each one more time, and then you can just re-watch them as many times as you need until you get it memorized. So moving on to row number 2, again, so we're going to yarn over and make a front post double crochet in that first stitch. And then we're going to make 2 double crochets. And then you're just going to repeat that across. So again, that's 1 front post double crochet and 2 regular double crochets across until the last 2 stitches. We are going to finish off row 2 by making our last front post double crochet. And then we're going to make our last regular double crochet in the top of the turning chain. Chain 2 and turn. All right, and our last, all right, and now we can move on to row number 3. So for row number 3, we're going to start with 1 regular double crochet in the first stitch, and then we're going to make 2 front post double crochets. and then you'll just repeat that pattern across until you get to the very last 2 stitches of row number 3. To finish off row number 3, you're going to finish with 2 double crochets. So make one in the next stitch, and then your last double crochet will be in the top of the turning chain. And that is the pattern, so you're just going to repeat that as many times as you need to create the pattern that you're wanting, just making sure that when you're finished, your last row should be a row 2. So you don't want to end on a row 3. This will just make sure that it keeps the edges even. When you've reached the length that you want, just cut your yarn, fasten it off, and weave your ends in with your yarn needle. And that's it. You've got a beautiful piece worked up in the waffle stitch. If you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more crochet patterns and stitch tutorials. I'd also love to see what you have made with your waffle stitch, so feel free to tag me on social media. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.